G'day, everybody. How's it going out there? Well, for furries, it was a hard time out there for those furries in Slovakia who were running a small convention. Over the last weekend, there was a act of violence that was making its rounds on the social medias of an incident that was occurring out there. Basically, on Blue Sky, we had some folks who were at the convention making note of the situation that was occurring on the ground. We have here Lion 21 Black indicating, "Hey, folks, I was at the convention at the party in question where the violence had happened, and at that moment when the gang arrived and started beating people up, breaking noses, fire extinguishers and bottles. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. I am fine, just a lot of fear." So this was a quote repost, a quote flutter, because it's on Blue Sky, not Twitter. So, you don't call it a retweet, and some would call it a reskeet. I usually call it a reflutter. I call posts on that flutter. Sorry, I'm never going to change that. I'm not going to call them skeets. I'm sorry. It's just I'm a kid from the 90s, and that word means something. The slang still means something, and it's not quite too savory. But my hang-ups aside, it was a quote of this particular thing showing the ambulance taking this person away, saying they got raided by young people, probably anti-furry at a convention. I'm safe and fine. Not all my friends, sadly, are as well. I make this post to make a support towards the convention, which is trying their best to keep us safe. It's not their fault, and I thank them and all the staff. So, obviously, not a great situation. Crime that can happen at conventions, and they've happened at American conventions. Probably the most infamous one being the 2014 chlorine gas incident at Midwest Fur Fest. I was at that convention. I luckily was not in the upper floors at that time. It was in the lower area below the fishbowl. So it was easy to make an exit from the building. So those incidents can happen, and luckily same with the Midwest Fur Fest, no one was seriously injured on that. There were 19 people who were hospitalized and injured. That was the same thing in that case. Like people were hospitalized, they took injuries, but it was nothing, and nobody lost their lives in that kerfluffle at the convention. The staff wrote as well. Basically, let's see here. Let me move. It says, "Our statement regarding recent events during Goldenhorn 2025. We are issuing this official statement to inform, be transparent with the public, and prevent the spread of misinformation in regards to what happened on the nights between Friday, November 14th and Saturday, November 15th during the Goldenhorn 2025 convention." Goldenhorn is the name of the Slovakian convention. So on the night of the 14th of November, we received reports regarding firecrackers being thrown towards the party houses our attendees were staying at. The perpetrators were neither attendees nor guests at the resort. The resort security and local police were notified immediately. We increased our security around the resort, and no serious incidents were reported. The following night of the 15th, a similar group were spotted near the party houses again, and both resort and police were once again notified. Local police confirmed the arrest of one person after performing a security sweep around the resort. None of the reported individuals were spotted, and we announced that the resort was once again safe. Sometime later, we were informed by attendees that they were attacked in their party rooms, as well as getting sprayed by a fire extinguisher. Resort security and police were notified again. All attendees were advised to stay indoors and lock their rooms. Another security sweep was performed. Notes were taken by both witnesses and victims. The statements recorded by local police. All immediate medical attention was provided, and reported injuries were treated. After the security sweep, we advised attendees to remain in their rooms, keep their doors locked, and keep window shutters closed for the night. Attendees at the main hotel building were safely escorted back to their rooms. On behalf of Slow Furs and Goldenhorn, I sincerely apologize for the events that took place and to everyone attending. For 2026, attendee safety will remain our highest priority. We have secured a new convention venue, which our security team will ensure the safety of all conventions and make Goldenhorn fun and enjoyable experience for everyone. Thank you for your understanding through these difficult events. Perp 3 Bolt, chairman of Slow Furs. So Slow Furs is the name of the group, and Goldenhorn is the name of the convention. So it looks like, fortunately, nothing too. The outcome was not as bad as it obviously could have been. It is, as I said, criminality at conventions is not an unheard of issue. Not barring the 2014 incident, the Furry Weekend Atlanta, in 2024, had that, infamously had a furry like get mugged on the streets like a block away from the convention center, and had to deal with and had to basically almost fight them off. But I will say it is extremely rare to have an outside group go into a venue space and like bother a room party. Usually if there's bothering of the furries and harassment of the furries by non-furries in the area, they typically won't go into the hotels and bother furries there. They'll typically be on the street or in the vicinity, but not in the hotel room themselves. And I think that's why this one caught a lot of ears on the ground for furries and had a lot of higher concern than usually the other kind of crime and criminality will cause. That being said, not sure if the change in venue, was due to them just growing and needing a new place anyway, and it just so happened they're changing venues next year, or if this sort of catalyzed that action in any way. I'm not sure, but hopefully next year they'll be in a better area, in a place where somebody won't do that kind of shenanigans. Obviously, we don't know the motive of the individuals and the perpetrators. One person was arrested, but we don't know really the motive behind the situation. Maybe they just don't like partying all that much. It is a country near a war zone, and hard times create hard hearts, and people, and it can cause unruliness. But it's not like next door to the war or anything, but it is in close proximity. But I will say this: there's also, it could be anything else as well. You have the issue of that very weekend, sports. In the world of sports, Slovakia lost to Kosovo, and basically lost an opportunity to be in the World Cup in FIFA. So maybe some sports fans were upset and wanted to take it out on some group of tourists and furries. The in-group and the out-group of the sports fandom and the furry fandom is well known. It's scientifically proven that there's not much overlap between the furry fandom and sports fans. There's some furries that dabble in both, and they're and they're the normal ones. But that being said, it could have been that. But at the end of the day, irregardless of the motive, it's not great to have that kind of situation happen. And despite the injuries that occurred, hopefully those folks will recover well, and they'll have a story to share for sure. But anyways, my hope and hearts go out to the Slovakian furs, and I'm glad that they wrote the message, they got it out there, and they are absolutely, and I wish them the best of luck in the new venue next year, and hope that this incident is the last incident, because they've held multiple conventions before without incident. So I suspect that this would be a one-off, similar to how the Midwest Fur Fest 2014 was sort of a one-off in multiple decades of running a convention. I suspect and hope that this will be the same. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. That's it for this one. Kick that like, kick the subscribe button, do the algorithm stuff. I'm going to get the hop out of here, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good one.